Drug and alcohol abuse is commonly discussed in our society today. Far and wide in Uganda, drugs, alcohol and substance abuse poses a greater risk and hazard to children and teenagers compared to the adults. This is because their brains are not yet fully developed.
For students in school, the consequences are very severe, as they could drop out or even get expelled. And for the youth that are employed, the consequences are even worse, as they could lose their jobs. However, there are different treatments to drug abuse, but the best one is prevention in the first place.
Welcome to the show. As a platform specially designed for youth interaction, U-report is a free SMS-based system that allows you as a young Ugandan to share your concerns and opinions with your MPs, NGOs, and government institutions. We share your results every month with key stakeholders who cannot help if they don't know what your concerns are. For example, this week, we talk about alcohol, drugs, and substance abuse. Rachel, how does one become a U-reporter?
It's very easy to be part of U-report. Simply text the word join to 8500. All SMS messages to the number 8500 are free across all networks.
Step number 2. You will receive a series of questions asking more about you. We at U-report would like to know more about you for a better interaction.
Step number 3. After answering all the questions about you, that's it. You're now a U-reporter.
Step number 4. As a U-reporter, you will receive weekly poll results and meaningful information that will help you enact change in your community.
It's been said that people with an addiction don't have control over what they are doing, taking, or using. Their addiction reaches a point where it's harmful to themselves and other people around them.
We asked several U-reporters in Uganda what their understanding of addiction and drug abuse was, and if it is a common occurrence in their community. Let's take a look.
Most of the youth today, male and female, have gotten into the business of chewing marijuana everywhere, and you find this is done in the open, not even in the hiding like it used to be. Some of them go ahead to sell maybe property in order to buy the drugs. Some of them lose their senses, and we found most of them in the mental health units. Even here in Mbale Regional Referral Hospital, you find a young person who is there not because he became mentally ill from childhood, but because after abusing a drug.
In my community, some youths take marijuana and alcohol, and some of them run mad because of that. Others misbehave, they fight, and others, they go on stealing people's things.
You will find people in video halls, people drinking, circuits, people smoking. Just see it like that. And if you see the kind of life they live, it looks somehow miserable. The people there don't look like someone who is actually doing something important for their life.
The local brew called Ajono. It has that mentality of making people mad almost. Because when you overtake it, it goes to just close your mind. You don't work normally, don't see things moving well.
In Toro, as you move around streets, there are very many drugs that young people do take. One of them is kuberi. That affects them. At the end of the day, they feel like running mad. That if you move around, you get them taking. Another thing is like this drugs called, in our local language, it's called musala. Yes, please. Now those ones also they keep on taking. At the end of the day, they feel they are exhausted, they are tired, they are drunk, and so on. That makes them run mad at the end of the day, and they run away from their home. They be in the street.
There you have it, U-reporters. Reports show a cause for concern before the situation gets out of hand, especially if we fail to find out the meaning of drug abuse, the nature of addiction, and what makes young people prone to drug abuse. When we come back, we find out how bad alcohol and drugs can be. All that and more after the break.
If I'm to ask the government to change the education system,
for someone to go into marriage, someone never have to have
the government can come in and say now.
Have your say. Text the word join to 8500 for free. U-report, because your voice matters.
My name is called Oloa Osman. And I want to inform the community that I'm really very proud to be the U-reporter.
U-report is a weekly TV show that allows you as a young Ugandan to speak out on what's happening in your community. It's very easy to join and let your voice be heard. You simply have to text the word join and send it to the number 8500. It's free across all networks. Remember, your opinion really matters. And we would like to share your feedback with over 200 youth across the country on the U-report platform.
This week on the show, we are talking about alcohol, drug and substance abuse. Students are increasingly abusing drugs and alcohol. We sent out a special poll at a request of Joseph from Kumi District. We asked you reporters what they think can be done to overcome drug abuse among the youth today.
Over 170,000 U-reporters participated in this poll. And here are some of your responses. A U-reporter from Masindi shared that by empowering the young people with life skills and entrepreneurship would help them reduce the time they use on drugs. And another U-reporter from Kampala shared that the only solution is to sensitize them about the dangers of drug abuse. Keep them busy in community work, and those who are jobless, ensure that they keep next to God through praying with them. And finally, a U-reporter from Budaka said, parents should be committed to see what kind of friends their children keep. Thank you, our dear reporters, and here are some of the feedback from other U-reporters across the country.
Most of the youth get themselves involved in drugs, mainly because they want also to fit in the community, like the construction work. Most of them, when they work in the construction work, these difficult labor sort of jobs, you find that they go and take these drugs with the motive of giving them energy to do more. But this has always brought many effects in their lives. You find that most of them go berserk. Some of them fail to perform totally.
The effect of all those kind of things goes to person with disabilities. You find someone maybe has taken marijuana, is drunk, or someone has taken alcohol, is drunk. Maybe his emotion rise higher, the sexual emotion rise higher. We will get someone with disability like on the street, and because already is having that emotion of sex, we will get a lady on the street who is disabled, and this lady is not in position to defend herself. It will end up raping her.
One of the things that could stop these people from taking this drug, one of them is giving them something to do, at least something which is productive, like giving them jobs. And most of these people are even learned people, of which when they are given something to do, they can stop this thing.
If there can be strict laws put on the drug importers, because if we could really manage the people who bring the drugs, if we could really always have those people arrested and maybe put into the courts of law so that we stop receiving these drugs.
The parents should have the time to be with the kids and really know what they want and the activities they are doing. Because you can find a parent has children but has never got to know what the kid likes in future, what annoys the kid, and most times they run away from home just because of the side effects.
Youth should be involved in various activities, one of which is engaging them in football. In fact, that is the most important one. For what? For boys. And for ladies, we have a lot of things like knitting, we have making tablecloths. If you can, supposing you don't have any other employment, you could come in. That is what I've always been advising them. They should take up and then get themselves engaged properly so that they don't have time really so much to think of what? Any other thing, because that is the real time. I mean, as they say, an idle mind is a devil's workshop. Of course, if you're not doing the right thing, you find yourself what? Messing up.
Uganda Youth Development Link is one of the organizations that deals with alcohol, drugs and substance abuse prevention in slum areas and in schools. It focuses mainly on prevention strategies like community outreaches, counseling, vocational training and sports. Andrew is among the young people that has benefited from this institution. Let's hear his story.
Nali ndowooza mu P6 ewaka ndowooza sente nga teziriwo nnyo kiki bakusindisa ogenda osome bagobye komyewo tewali sente n'ogenda oyiye ebirala engeri gye nnakulamu nga sente tewali waka oyozezza emmoloka okoze eki gurupu nga nkola ki mikwano nina mingi emirungi emibi nga gyonna giri okwo nga mulimu abanywa enjaga mulimu abanywa omwenge kwasatu nze nzeka atakola ki atakikola natesitinga gwali mwenge nenywako wampisa bubi first time nayisibwa bubi nnyo nnyo muli munda omutwe gwannuma enkeera ndowooza saazuukana kuzuukuka kyekikosi buli kyebakola kyenkola nangiso kilabinga sisuze waka nywedde omwenge nga bwenjagala njaga nga bw'oyagala ekyansindiikiriza okuba mu mize egyo ndo kyali nti ekyokukola tewali sente tewali gurupu weziri ate bo sente bakola ki balinawo tenga nze saalina sente ndowooza ne gurupu embi kuba buli yali mukwano gwange nga akikozesa kati so anange nina okikola ki okukikozesa.
When did you realize it was an addiction?
Nakiraba luvannyuma nga obusente bw'ofunye kiri kikubanja ky'okozesa n'obanga buli kaseera ogenda kuba nga ndi mwavu nga sibirabadde n'ekikumi mu mpale olw'ekintu ekyo kuba nina okikozesa nakiwaayo okikozesa.
So what problems did you face as an addict?
Buli we nanyo kalenga ku njaga nga nsobola okulya ndowooza epipa y'emmere naye nga teriiwo kati ekyo kikusindisa okubba olabe nti olidde ojje kiri ekikulimu kibe nga kikoze ekikuse naye nga siggwalya nywedde omwenge kumpisizza bubi nwanyi ne we sandirwanidde ne wejjusa nca oluvannyuma neekanganga ndi namabega wa mitayimbwa naye nga mwenge genda okkakkana nti ndi munda mu seero neebasi bankutte wabula nga simanyi bansanze ntamidde niyona mugongo bafumitayo naye ngwawo simanyi yantaasa yantwala mulago simanyi nalabirawo nga ndi mulago nebagamba omaze wano ennaku 3 kati okuva olwo neŋŋamba omwenge nengukola bwenti kuba olwaba ntuuka notuuka emulago nga simanyi nti nze ntuusewo tomanyi tuteyo nemba nga ngenda nkola bwenti omwenge.
Andrew, what message do you have for the youth out there that are doing drugs, that are doing marijuana, that are addicted to alcohol?
Omuvubuka alina akozesa enjaga akozesa omwenge osobola okugyesalako lwa nsonga ekintu gwakikozesa kuba gwe muntu si kyekikozesa osobola okukyesonyiwa mpola mpola kyokoma okuba nga olina kyokola ekikufudde bize tosobola kulowooza njaga tosobola kulowooza mwenge ogenda kuva ku kintu ekyo kyokola ekikufudde bize nga okooye oyagala kgenda kuwummula so that enkyo osobola okuba nga olina amaanyi agakola ki agagenda okukola ku mirimu gyemirala olaba nga eyeesanyusa naye ng'oba teweesanyusa oba oli ku bulamu bwo bwokola ki bwoyonoona okugeza nga nze gamba nga enjaga omwenge bindeetedde obuvune bungi nfumitiddwa ebiso lwa mwenge ngudde ku accidents nnyingi nga mpona mukama azza bibye wanjaga nakitandika ndi musanyufu nga nkikozesa nga ndabanga asukulumye ku balala kuba wakikozesanga n'oba nga oli waggulu nnyo olaba nga bonna obasinga oba waggulu n'oba nga onyumirwa okola ki ne gye nakomanga okikozesa ennyo kwe kufiirizibwa kwenako obulamu bwange kwe kufiirizibwa okola ki kye nagenda nga obulamu bwange ngenda ninga busalako.
Uganda Youth Development Link is trying in several fronts to see that the problem of alcohol and drug abuse is understood, especially by young people. The major area we have concentrated on has been mainly giving information through radio, but also we've been compiling reports to show that actually there is a serious problem. And we've tried to segment and show who is more affected and who is that. But in addition to that, we have also been training people. The young people who are involved in karaoke, prostitution, young people in the slums, they tell you they have no jobs, they have nothing to do, they're idle. So what we have been doing, apart from counseling, apart from helping them with livelihood, we have been also promoting vocational skills. And surprisingly, when you begin to invite and engage young people in this area and tell them that there's a better alternative like sports, a better alternative like vocational skills, come and participate in these focus group discussions, or come and participate in life skill sessions, you can be able to reduce your substance abuse. A big number result. By the way, it is better to deal with young people than deal with others, because many young people are experimenting. They're trying to find out. There is a friend who is pressurizing them. So you need to teach young people pressure skills, how to resist pressure skills, but also how to see other alternatives, and how alcohol and drugs are going to damage. The simplest thing a young person can do to avoid alcoholism, to avoid drug abuse, and not to slip into addiction, the first thing is do not touch. Because it is easier to refuse than to stop. So a young person who has stopped, who has said, I'm not going to touch, is far better off. Because addiction, once you get hooked to drugs and alcohol, to get out of that takes a lot of energy and a lot of effort. Now, the second thing, if they have slipped over and they have got addicted to alcohol and drugs, one was to seek expert help, to seek advice, to seek counseling. Because some of them may have tried, but they are not very far. Therefore, they need to seek expert. Then the third thing young people can do is to see alternatives. Seek out alternatives. Sports without drugs. Music without drugs, leading without drugs, working without drugs. Because drugs, once they enter, they begin to interfere, one, with your body, with your health. They interfere with your finances. Even people around you begin to reject you. Even the way you do things, you deteriorate. And when you deteriorate, nobody will give you a job. Nobody will employ you. You become a vagabond. Then you'll be arrested. Then you end up in prison. You end up engaged in criminal activities. There are a lot of activities young people can do, and young people should resist that temptation. We are saying start, you will stop. Start, you will stop. It's not easy to try, because the moment the drugs enter your body begins tolerant, and it will begin asking you, bring more, bring more, bring more. So these are some things I can suggest.
A lot of young people are now entering into these bad habits in terms of taking drugs. Majority of those people are unemployed. Others, they don't have an education at all. So that's where the whole drug abuse comes in. And the only way how that can be eradicated is to sensitize the youth and tell them, look here, for example, in my kingdom, we give out bursaries to students that can't afford school fees, so that it does not take them on that path, because we want everybody to be educated. So I advise that not only in my area where I govern, but elsewhere in the entire nation. So in order for the youth to not get onto that path, I advise them to study hard, stay in school, and those who are not even employed, who have finished school but are looking for jobs, start something at least, and so that you don't get onto that path.
What are you waiting for? Join and be heard. Your voice matters.
Hello and welcome back. U-report is a free SMS-based system that allows you as a young Ugandan to speak out on what's happening in your community and work together with other community leaders for positive change.
Alcoholism damages body organs. Among expectant mothers, it leads to abnormal birth. Drug abuse and alcoholism can also lead to death. We all know that availability of these drugs on the market and their glorification on internet, TV, and other media draws the youth close to them, therefore leading them to drug abuse.
Drug abuse is a social problem that affects everyone, regardless of their race, color, tribe, or religion. Different drugs have different symptoms and effects on the addict, but through timely interventions like counseling, some people have been able to come out of their addictions. And in extreme cases, mental health professionals are the way to go.
Lots of people get mental illness, confusion, overt confusion, where you get somebody on the street is restless, is undressing, is fighting, and so on and so forth. And that's actually the reason many of them are brought to Tabika after a bout of using alcohol or marijuana or these other drugs. They get confused and they are overtly mentally sick, so they are brought in here for help. It causes depression. People get very, very easily depressed and they threaten suicide. Some have actually succeeded in committing suicide, and not only killing themselves, but some have even killed others before they kill themselves. This is homicide as complication of drug abuse. People get paranoid in the sense that they begin to suspect other people are after them, classmates, workmates, and so on and so forth. And that promotes some weird behavior, avoiding work, avoiding school, getting angry with people very, very easily, just because of use of drugs. Others get various forms of anxiety. They can't function at work, they can't function in school, they're anxious, they are worried about something that is not actually real or there. Others begin seeing things that others can't see. They are seeing animals, they are seeing funny colors. This is why sometimes they start laughing unnecessarily to themselves, like they are watching a movie which is not there. So all these are common mental complications that they get, and the reason they get brought to our institution. If we go by statistics that we have in this hospital, over 20% of admissions in this hospital are related to use of alcohol and drugs, and that's quite a big number. We've done studies in schools, tertiary institutions, and we see a number of young people are actually using alcohol and other drugs. Some studies have quoted as far as 70% of children in secondary schools using alcohol, over 15% using tobacco, over 10% using cannabis and various other substances. We've seen people chewing kubel. They buy it from supermarkets in small sachets. They call it kuba. Now kuba is nicotine. It's tobacco, but which is now, instead of somebody buying a stick of tobacco and light it on a fire and smokes, they chew it directly. So it's ordinary tobacco. Though, of course, we are worried now that people are beginning to concoct various things and add to this oral tobacco. So when the people are chewing, it's not just the nicotine they are taking. It could be a mixture of nicotine and marijuana and other things. That's the biggest danger that we seem to be running. There's also a new phenomenon of taking in tobacco orally through a water vessel, what we call shisha smoking. Shisha smoking is something that has come up so much in this country. It used to be particularly common in the Horn of Africa. Whether you take it in through smoke or orally or other ways, it is still nicotine and it harms the body. People tend to think that if you use shisha, it is safer. No, it isn't safer. It is equally harmful and dangerous to the human body.
There you go, you reporters. I'm sure you've learned a lot about drug, alcohol, and substance abuse on the show today. You too can be part of the change in your community. If you know anyone who's going through an addiction, please refer them to a hospital so that they can get medical help.
Next time, we'd like to hear back from you too. Let your voice be heard here on U-Report. Visit our Facebook page or website and be part of the discussions here on U-Report. Bye-bye.
We are several U-reporter Ugandans. U-reporters in Uganda.
We asked our U-reporters how you what do you think should be done to overcome the how the problem of drug abuse can be overcome among the youth today. And for the youth that are employed, I forgot. Okay. It focuses mainly on prevention strategies like community outreaches, trainings, sports, and vocational trainings.